If I get a call to assist someone, I always assist. I learned that from the police department. You're always calling your backup, to assist and so forth. And even though I did not work for any of the other police departments or sheriff departments, I would assist them if they called on me. So I get a call from this chief of police one day. He and we graduated from the same police academy. I just tell you, we called him Buster. Okay. And, but he was the chief of police of one of these small towns. And when he called me and I said, "Hey, chief, hey, Buster, how you doing?" Because, we got to know each other from the police academy. And I asked, "What, you got a situation with some kids?" He told me that he did. And he needed my assistance. So I decided to go over to this small town. While there, I'm with the chief and we jump in his unit and we ride outside of the city limits, actually. Outside of the city limits, like in the country. And as we came around this curve, it was a real shock and surprise. What my in-laws was telling me about these little towns, I was now facing it. What am I talking about? I know you said, "Hurry up, get to it." But telling a true story, please be patient, because it may be of value to you and your family or someone you know and love. When we came from around that curve and the trees, all of a sudden the clearance, there it was. It was exposed. It was such a thing that was staring me in the face. And now I'm faced with a situation. This could be deadly. I know you're probably wondering, what am I talking about? I made a video on this particular event. But it was draped over the top of the house. It was gigantic. Bigger than like what you ever seen, these gigantic flags flying at a bank. That's right. It was that Confederate flag. And there were no people in that town or region that looked like me. Now, what would you do? You've been educated about these sundown towns. And we know the history about that. We know the history about slavery. We know the history about Jim Crow. And we know the battles that's still being waged in some areas. Because every section of the country is not the same. We know that from our travels, don't we? But there it was. I was faced with this. The chief of police sitting next to me in his car. And now I'm seeing this gigantic flag drape over top of this house. Now, all of a sudden, I had to check myself. I checked my gun on my hip, and I checked my gun under my arm. And I had made the decision at that point, it can be a life and death situation, and I made a point at that time. My mind was made up. No ifs and buts about it. If there had to be a shooting, hey, been no problem. Because I was trained to protect not just myself, but to protect the public. And anything that I would have done, it would have been within the frameworks of the law. Now I'm faced with this dilemma. And the thing about it is, I don't work for this city. I don't work for that chief of police. He can't dictate or tell me to do anything. I work for the court. And I was just out there on a courtesy at his request. And now I'm faced with a situation wondering, is this history about to be made here? Because we know a lot of the old history, but this would have definitely been new history. Now I'm weighing it out whether I'm going to tell Chief, turn the car around, I'm not going in, or do I go forward? Not knowing what the Chief's true intentions are. Not knowing, could this be a setup to get this guy under control? But I tried to be a good police officer. I tried to treat everybody the way I wanted to be treated, and I did do that. But now I'm faced with a situation that, based on history, could turn out to be deadly. And rest assured, I was ready. Now we stop outside of this house and we get out, and I believe there was a gentleman, a guy that came out of the house to meet us. And then I just kept it businesslike. Now I go inside the house, check on the kids, and everything checks out fine. And while I was in that home, that Confederate flag home, who was drawn there by the chief of police, not knowing what his true intentions were at the time, who was a guy I thought we developed a good rapport when we was at the police academy. And everybody gave me respect. Why was that? Why I'm in such a home, and we know who represents those flags. Especially one gigantic like that, where you can be in an airplane and look down and see it. Must be headquarters. So when I walked out of that home, they just called me Officer Wilkins, and everything was respectful. Because see, when you're in this, I knew the situation I was in. And I knew I was faced with a moment, and that was no time to show cowardice. No time to show cowardice. You know, I've often thought about that. He knows the history. Why lure me out there to that particular home? Think about that. A home with such an history that has so many lynchings, but we're in a different day and age. And I can assure you, things are not like the way they used to be and will never go back. I'm an American just like everybody else is American. I obey the law, pay my taxes, and try to help my fellow man, worship and serve my God. Think about that. So now I'm in modern day 21st century. New president is back in office. And right now our country is going to hell. Remember when it was peaceful? Remember when we had the respect of the world? Remember when we were the most wealthiest country the world has ever known, ever. And then we'll listen to what someone says, how terrible this country has been doing. When you and I know it's been doing great, better than ever. We're the richest, the wealthiest. We was the most respected around the world, and like overnight, it's all gone. And you, if you can't see trouble coming, even more so, finna get worse, I can tell you this right now. I see it coming. A lot of people see it coming. But there are some people who can't see it. They really can't. It's like they're blind. It's just like Sam and Dean watching Supernatural when you had Lucifer telling, the people one thing, and then the people are so spellbound, they believe it. Watch Supernatural. That's what I'm talking about. And while you're watching it, watch 24, because it's like in sync what's going on today. That's a TV show that used to come on. I think it's been off the air now, maybe 10 years, with Kiefer Sutherland. And his character was called Jack Bowers on, played the show called 24. Watch it. You will see the parallels as what's going on in our country today and our government. Really. But having a career in the criminal justice system, take another job as a juvenile justice specialist with the state, did that 25 years. And then the last 9 of those years, I supervised 5 counties, all at the same time with that agency. In my region, I was the first in that capacity. Imagine 5 counties. I pop from one county because we have an agency in every county, 77 counties in the state. Imagine I leave from one county, I'll go over there, visit with the district attorney or assistant DA, the judge, and judges. I'll go to the other county, visit with the chief of police or the sheriff, besides the judges and the DAs and ADAs, at all 5 counties. And here, check this out. In most of those counties, there weren't people really like me. But there were good people everywhere. And I found a lot of good people trying to do the right thing, even in their ruling on the bench and so forth, even when filing charges from the district attorney's office, always try to do the right thing. But like in everything, we have that element out there that's not so good, that will break the law, that will threaten you, that will bully you, that will try to take everything they can from you and make you bow. I'm familiar with that. When you're in the criminal justice system, you see things other people don't get to see because that's why you call the law, to protect you. But right now we see some things going on in our country that has us all concerned. The stock market is, not steady. It's up and down. And think about this. Our leader can control the stock market unless someone gets him in check. Just like recently, the other day, giving everybody the heads up about, the market getting ready to go up and putting out a stock symbol, which is his actual initials. I'm an ex-cop. Something wrong with that. That can easily be put in the category of corruption. And we just sit by and let it happen. So let me wrap all this up. I said a lot to say this. I saw, and so have many of you, the progression of this country. We go from no rights to having rights to being put in positions of power and authority. And then you have someone come along and say how bad and poorly we're doing. And the thing what caught a lot of us, and this what got us all, secure the border, number one. Then, of course, the other issues, social issues. We can deal with social issues, but there are a way that we can get things done without violating people's rights. Because that's what it's always been about for me. Obeying the law. You obey God, you obey the law. Do you want to be like Russia? Really? Seriously? I don't want to be like Russia. We are the United States, baby. We are a unique country. We're governed by laws, the Constitution. We don't want to be like Russia. We don't want to be a totalitarian dictatorship style country. You want a king? I don't. So what do we do about it, Congress? We're going to sit back and let things happen before we know it? The country's gone. You're so concerned about your positions of getting reelected? Trust me when I say this. You don't deserve to be reelected. And those people in your district, no matter how much you hide, you're going to feel it, and you should. Because the government is about the people. The government is to protect us. The government is to help us, not hurt us, not destroy us, not penalize us, not put us in fright, wondering what freedom will be taken next. Because we got a lot of punks and cowards that are afraid to do what they know is right. I've seen the bad. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And all I'm seeing right now is the bad and ugly. But there's still goodness out there. Because here's one thing that's for certain. Love heals. Love has power. Love can prevent wars. But if we don't get control of it now, folks, we're going to feel the financial pain. And not just that, here's what else is going to happen. We're going to find ourselves possibly in a war. Think about that. Seems like everything that our president said about other people, he was always talking about himself. He's saying that, I remember he talked about the other candidates he was running against was going to get us in World War III, and I watched all the rallies, his too, and he was the only one that ever talked about that. I've got people I consider good friends will look me dead in the eye and believe everything he says to be true. It reminds me of the scripture where it talks about they were given over to a depraved, reprobate mind. They can't see it. I don't want a dictator. I don't want a king. I want our reputation to be restored around the world. I want America to stand for goodness. That light, that beacon up on the hill, what people just admire to be. Where every person can utilize those success principles and follow those principles and achieve their dreams and goals in life. I want a country where I feel protected. I want a country where I feel I can get ahead. I want a country where I know that I'm leaving something behind for my kids and grandkids and generations to come, and not to tear it all up, to try to make it into something new. It was working. We don't need to change. It's been working for 250 years? And now here we are. We want to change it because one person wants it. Then there's another one that wants it. Then there's secret meetings behind closed doors. And here's a common denominator, folks. You may not want to hear this, but I'm going to be real with you. Race is in the center of it all. Race is in the center of it all. And we all have to live together. Robert Wilkins, a.k.a. Basketball Tall. Stick with me. Let's love one another. Let's put into practice what God calls us to do. And I'll see you next time.